You know, every time you get a package delivered to your door in just a couple of days, or you see a brand new car roll off an assembly line, you're actually witnessing a kind of hidden masterpiece. So in this explainer, we're going to pop the hood and take a look at the powerful engine that makes it all possible: operations management.
I mean, seriously, have you ever stopped to think about that? It's not magic, right? These things are incredible feats of coordination, planning, and just raw execution. So how on earth do companies pull this off, day in and day out?
Well, that secret is operations management, and we're about to give you the complete blueprint for how this engine is built and how it runs piece by piece.
Okay, first things first. Before we can build anything, we have to understand the foundation. So, what is operations management, really?
At its absolute core, it's all about transformation. It's the art and science of taking a bunch of inputs, raw materials, people, machines, and managing the process that turns them into the finished stuff that customers actually want to buy. And here's the thing. Every single organization has this function, whether they're making cars or just serving coffee.
Now, what's really interesting here are two key words: optimize and performance. See, operations management isn't just about doing the work. It's about doing it better, faster, and cheaper. It's about squeezing every last bit of waste out of a process to get the most value. And that is the crucial takeaway.
All right, with that foundation laid, it's time to check out the architectural plan. How do you actually design a system to produce something? This is where the strategy really kicks in. This chart might look a little complex, but it's a game changer. It's called the product/process matrix, and it's a cornerstone of operations strategy. It basically helps a business figure out the right way to make something by matching the product variety with the production volume.
And this shows the fundamental trade-off perfectly. On one side, you've got high variety, low volume stuff. Think about a craftsman building custom furniture, right? You need a super flexible system for that. Then on the other side, you've got low variety, high volume. Like making millions of identical cars, that requires an incredibly efficient, standardized process. And just look at the difference here. It's so clear. The image on the left shows the kind of planning you need for a flexible workshop where skilled people are creating custom orders. And on the right, whoa, that's the reality of a massive paper mill, a place designed for one thing and one thing only, churning out huge volumes of paper as efficiently as humanly possible. Two totally different products, needing two totally different operational designs. Let's move on to the next part of our blueprint, the resource plan. You see, it's not enough to just have a great process design. You have to make sure you have the right amount of resources to meet what your customers are asking for. And that, my friends, is a constant balancing act.
It all boils down to these two simple ideas. Load is what the market demands from you. It's all the orders from your customers. Capacity, on the other hand, is what you're actually capable of delivering with what you have: your people, your machines, your factory. The entire game of capacity planning is about keeping those two things in perfect sync.
I absolutely love this visual. Think of your entire operation as a funnel. The work, or the load, gets poured into the top as planned orders. Your capacity is the size of the funnel's spout, and that determines how fast completed orders can flow out the bottom.
So the whole point is managing that flow. If you pour work in faster than it can come out, the funnel overflows. That's a bottleneck, and it leads to delays and chaos. But if you don't have enough work pouring in, the funnel runs dry, and all your expensive resources are just sitting there, doing nothing. Balance is absolutely everything. So how do you know how much work is coming your way? Well, you forecast. Forecasting is basically an educated guess about the future. It uses old data and smart statistical models to predict what customer demand, or that load, is going to look like. It's the foundation for all your planning. And what makes forecasting so tough is that demand is rarely just a flat line. I mean, as you can see here, it can have trends, like a product getting more and more popular, or it can have clear seasonal patterns, like ice cream sales going through the roof in the summer. A good forecast spots these patterns to make a much more accurate prediction. Okay, so we've got our architectural plan and our resource plan. Now we need the really detailed construction schedule. This is all about taking those big picture plans and turning them into day-to-day, hour-by-hour instructions right there on the factory floor.
So at a high level, companies use a process called Sales and Operations Planning, or S&OP for short. You can think of it like a monthly summit where sales, marketing, finance, and operations all get on the same page. They look at the forecast, agree on one single plan for demand and supply, and get the big bosses to sign off. The goal is just to make sure everyone is marching in the same direction.
Now, once that high-level plan is set, we zoom way in to the super granular level, production planning and control, or PPC. This is what translates the plan into real action on the shop floor. Routing decides the exact path a job takes through the factory. Scheduling sets the timetable. Dispatching gives the green light to actually start. And then expediting and follow-up makes sure it all stays on track.
We've designed it, we've planned it, and we've built it, but our job isn't done. Nope. The final part of our blueprint is the inspection. And in business, that means measurement, because you absolutely cannot improve what you do not measure. And why does this matter so much? Because the performance of your operations hits your bottom line hard. Every tiny bit of inefficiency is a cost. Every improvement in speed or quality is potential profit. Operations is truly where the money is made or lost.
So, what do we measure? Everything. This slide just shows a handful of the key performance indicators, or KPIs, that operations managers live and breathe every day. We're talking cycle time, how long it takes from start to finish, throughput, how many units we make per hour, and we're asking questions like what percentage of our machines are running versus being repaired. In operations, data is king.
Let's make this super real for a second. A critical metric is first pass yield. It answers one question. What percentage of our products are made perfectly on the first try with no defects or rework needed? World-class companies, they aim for 95% or higher. Just imagine the waste and cost savings of getting it right the first time, 95 times out of 100. That is the goal.
And that brings our blueprint full circle, from defining the process to balancing capacity, scheduling the work, and finally measuring the results. You see, operations management isn't a one-time thing. It's a relentless, continuous cycle of planning, doing, and always improving.
So I'll leave you with this thought. These principles we've talked about, defining a process, managing resources, eliminating waste, they don't just apply to factories. So think about it. What's one process in your own life that you could optimize? From studying for an exam to planning a trip. Pretty cool to think about, huh? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.